Hi, I'm Mark, poet with guitar. from Washington, D.C., and welcome to the Poets Reacts. Tonight and today, depending on where you are, the four of us poets will react to a poem we've never seen, know nothing about, and have a lively conversation, I'm sure, about it, as we always do. And now let me introduce Marissa.
Hello, everyone. I got to get my long glasses on here. Now we can all be long. I just need my black hoodie and my white button-up shirt now. I am Marissa. I'm a poet and spoken word artist and publisher from Albuquerque, New Mexico. Yes. Make sure you comment in the chat, please. We love interacting with you. We love getting your questions, comments, all that good stuff. Lawin.
Hi, everyone. I'm Marissa. No, I'm not. I'm Lawin. I'm Lawin from Manila. For those who've been watching the show, this background might be a little strange. This is actually my childhood bedroom that I'm in just for today. But hi, everyone. Same thing. Welcome, poet fans. If you haven't subscribed yet, you have to. If you haven't liked us yet, my only question is, why not? So, yeah, go like us. Kemlyn.
Hi, everyone. I'm Kemlyn, and I'm your Singapore, Arizona connection. And I'm a visual artist and a writer and a spoken word artist. And I am so excited about the poem because I have no idea what it is. So send in a poem.
I sit beside the fire and think of all that I have seen, of meadow flowers and butterflies in summers that have been, of yellow leaves and gossamer in autumns that there were, with morning mist and silver sun and wind upon my hair. I sit beside the fire and think of how the world will be when winter comes without a spring that I shall ever see. For still there are so many things that I have never seen. In every wood, in every spring, there is a different green. I sit beside the fire and think of people long ago, and people who will see a world that I shall never know. But all the while I sit and think of times there were before. I listen for returning feet and voices at the door.
Wow, it's a really charming 19th century sonnet. Really, I mean, during that, it's a type of poetry that people used to memorize.
Right.
The cadence and the iambic pentameter is easy for memorization. This is true.
Yeah, and
I wouldn't be surprised. I would not be surprised if this might be a poem that a college person wrote in an English class trying to mimic 1900 style iambic pentameter.
But it sounds perfectly fireside. I can imagine listen to it with, I don't know, a hot chocolate or a nice mulled wine, and it's comfortable even as it's melancholic, and that's interesting. And after all that we've been through past episodes, it's nice to have something nice and reliable.
It's like something you would read on your deathbed.
Or read to me on my deathbed.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. Can you see it?
Oh, Kemlyn.
It's a gossamer.
Like a butterfly, but also a mask.
Yeah. And it's fire colors. And it's burning up. It's wistful and it's hardly even visible because of its gossamer. And I think it's an echo poem. And I think it's a lot more modern than we think, because I think it's someone that is really kind of bothered by what's going on in our world and it's burning up. And I think it is the choice of iambic pentameter and the sonnet feel. It's almost like we're losing something old, something ancient, and something, like you said, familiar. And so that's, I think, the twist of what is familiar that makes it interesting for me.
And they say of all the things I will not know. So I almost feel like it's a conclusion of a chapter or a life or a love.
To me, it's an old man poem. I mean, being somewhat the old man. I mean,
where's my pillow? Where's my Mark pillow?
To use the word gossamer today is quite archaic. It kind of dates the poem unless it is done intentionally, which I don't think it was. I think it was used at a time when the word gossamer was very popular. So that's why
these days can't be spry with their like archaic language.
Yeah, I think the poem is pre-20th century poem. Personally, it has that kind of stance that the Romantics took on, that kind of nostalgia, mixed with romance. I mean, it's a charming piece, and I think it's nice. It's like a nice landscape, you put on top of the fireplace. I mean, it really doesn't have that much guts and blood in it, obviously, in the game. And
you don't have to have guts and blood for it to be exciting, though.
And in the end, things of times before. Yeah, it's a nostalgia. It has that kind of soft, romantic nostalgia to me. But it's well composed. I mean, the flow, the way you read it was really well. I mean, you read it right. You gave it some bounce. Indeed.
I got bounce. Woo! That's where it doesn't show y'all.
Yeah, I mean, but it's hard. I think, and the rhymes are not forced. I don't think. They kind of flow nice and all the rest. And
do you find that like the message gets lost when you're expecting the rhyming and you like? I find when I'm reading, I am a pentameter, and it's like I know what's coming already. The anticipation. I find that sometimes my brain kind of turns off a little bit to the message because I'm just hearing the sounds and I'm not hearing what's underneath the words.
Do you think it's like a lullaby? It's like it's soothing you to a dream.
That's it. We're conditioned to sleep with rhyme.
Yes.
Well, think how much rhyme is I mean, there's two poetries going on right now in the world. There's a poetry of performance poetry, which often has rhyme ad nauseum. It works on rhyme, it plays with rhyme, it builds its rhythms on rhyme, right? And then there's the poetry world of the academic world, where they would not publish you if you had anything in it which rhymed or resembled rhyme.
Another fatal flaw of the academic world.
So
my apologies, but yes, I will tell you right now that is a fatal flaw.
That's absolutely, because a lot of us poets, I occasionally write in rhyme, and certainly in the performance sense, I've seen all of you guys certainly use that as a device in your poetry. It's part of the music of the language, for heaven's sakes,
And I think it might be a very Western thing to be, maybe the modern movements in Singapore would say, hey, let's say let's put an end to end rhymes. However, there's still beautiful forms like the Catan and the Pantun that, it's traditional, which why I like about this is that there's some sense of traditional to it. However, I'm still wondering if it's an eco poem. I mean, that's just like, So I'm looking for that twist.
I think it's a regret.
I have to go with Mark on this one. I do think it's guy on his way out poem.
It's a regret poem of all the things they never did in their life.
Yeah. I mean, he's dreaming about the world he'll never see, about all these things that he's prematurely wistful about. Yeah, but
he had some Lawin glasses to see the world.
No, but again,
mine hasn't come yet.
It makes for at least for me, it sounds like it would be nice, comfortable, sitting room reading, amongst nice close friends. It won't be, it won't be up there with it won't start a revolution or anything, but it makes us comfortable.
Yeah, it's like it's a type of poem where they used to say keep a poem in your pocket all the time. This would be the poem.
Is this what you do to impress girls? Is this what you do to impress women? You have a poem in your pocket and you pull it out. Is this how you got your wife to
Well,
marry?
if I was to impress a
So
woman,
one of the pockets
pull
is
out this
poem.
poem.
The other pocket is something else.
One is for the beginning of the night, one is for the end of the night. Yes, let's talk real here.
Well,
Okay,
I know this is.
here.
I don't think this is Longfellow, but it's very Longfellow-ish to me. You know, but I don't
So
know.
you're saying it's in keeping with the pastoral kind of
You know,
courtly love, era.
the butterflies and all the rest. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Usually they say that the most obvious answer is the truth, right? That's typically the motto in life. So you're probably right. It's most likely.
I know. I don't want I don't want them to be right, though. I don't.
I know. I would love to have had Lacan find some college student studying this era, and this is like a take on it, right?
Some sexy hottie.
You know what would have been really cool is if the college student wrote this piece as the persona of the author, knowing the guy's dead already, and if he was alive to witness poetry, that's what he would say, right? That would have been an interesting poem.
Okay, Backstage. Who wrote this poem?
I Sit and Think by John Ronald Reuel for Tolkien, The Fellowship of the Ring, 1954.
Oh wow!
Yes. Share Tolkien. Yeah.
It was written by Tolkien. Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's Tolkien.
Yeah, sure. You know, that's interesting. Because I found a book of poetry that everybody knows Tolkien from The Lord of the Rings, but he was a poet. I have a book by him in poetry. I don't recall that.
You probably had a lot of influences from people who had written during that era or were influenced by the 19th century. So,
well, he wrote it in Elvish. Just somebody translated it into English.
This is the real.
Good call on Mark for the carbon dating. So again, kudos to the Indiana Jones of poetry.
Mm-hmm. Actually, you know, I remember scattered throughout the whole 3 books of the Ring are a lot of poems.
Poems and songs,
songs, especially by the hobbits, and he wrote, the whole language of the hobbits,
and channeling that same rhythm of the old, right?
Sure, absolutely.
They're almost like the madrigals and minstrels of that time. So he was trying to create characters and a setting for that. So I think,
I read
1954, guys, 1954.
I think Lawin's being very quiet in his childhood home. Why are you being so quiet?
Because you guys are still talking, and I'm polite that way.
Well, we're gonna wrap up, Lawin. So if you want to add to this segment, we'd love to hear from you.
No, like I was saying, I mean, I don't retract my earlier comments, and really hearing that it was from Tolkien, all of a sudden it makes sense. All of a sudden you can hear this in a hobbit hole. Somewhere, you can hear it in a hobbit hole somewhere in the Shire. All right, while you share a beer or wine with Gandalf. It's amazing. And so again, not particularly epic, but it is lyric, and we need that in our lives.
Yeah, sure.
All right, everyone. Well, we definitely are winding down our show for you tonight. Thank you so much for joining us. Please make sure you like, share, subscribe to our channel. We're everywhere. We're YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Tomorrow we have Poets Lighthouse, 3 a.m. London time. And remember, as we react to poems live here with you all, we sure hope that you take action with your pen so that maybe one day we'll be reading your poem. Good night, everybody!